everybody. Welcome to the Trading Market Technicals Morning Call video for Monday, October 28th. I am filming this video on Sunday. Want to get the video out to you guys. Lots of charts, lots of indicators to go over. So I figured it'd take your time looking at the videos, being prepared for Monday morning's trading. Dow up again, Nasdaq up again, S&P up again. Russell down slightly, down 50 cents. That makes it 11 out of 13 days, literally straight up in a row. Just about up over 6% in that short of time. We actually ticked higher and made another all-time high in the minis, E-minis, 1755.75. That is now closing above our 1272 extension, which I'm showing to you here on the charts. That doesn't mean that the market's going to go to the 1.618% retracement. It just means that we have ticked there after hours. What I could say is that we are extremely overbought in every single time frame, starting from the lower time frame charts, running right up to the monthly charts. No, that is not a sell signal to sell the market short. I'm just very cautious heading into the end of the week, this week, and going into November. There's a lot of indicators that are starting to line up that are just so extremely stretched that right now market's going to need to at least pull back. And if you think about it, the 20-day moving average is at 1713. That is over almost just about 50 handles. If we could get back even down to here, that would keep us in a bull market. If we took 1675 in this first uptrend, or 1650, would still make the uptrend, as long as we don't lose this pivotal low right here, which that would come in at 16. I believe 1638-ish, somewhere in that area. That's the October 9th low. But again, we are in an uptrend. There's no question about it. I'm not a bull. I'm not a bear. I follow what the technicals tell me. But when we get to this point that we're, 3-4% above the 8 EMA and 6-7% above the 20, that just puts the brakes on my type of trading, and I'm taking a look and being very cautious here until we get a meaningful pullback. And all year, we haven't gotten a meaningful pullback. Starting back from here, here's the first week. We got this big bump up on the resolution of the fiscal cliff, kicking the can down the road, which we ended up here, and then we sold off because of that, and then now we rallied right back up again. And it's just a matter of time. When does the Fed start to pull the reins in? And as you can see here, they are just creating another asset bubble to burst, and this is not going to end well. Especially, there's tons of inflows of retail mutual fund inflows last week were the highest as of 2013. That's all retail buying up at these areas here, putting their money to work, which is ludicrous. I would never put any money. I would never recommend anybody buying or adding to their portfolio at these levels. Wait for a pullback. It will happen. If you go look at the chart, it will happen. Maybe it doesn't happen tomorrow. Maybe it doesn't happen next week. But if you look at it, we had the one little pullback if you liked it. We had another little pullback. So my point is, don't get greedy. This is what's driving the market. A market is made to fool the masses, and I'm telling you this because I get a lot of email. What do you think? Should we buy? No, I would not be buying or adding anything to these areas. Day trading or an overnight swing trade, absolutely. Define your risk for your trading plan, and it doesn't have to be your trading. It could be your portfolio. We have a lot of longer-term investors that follow the morning call video, and I would not be adding to this. You will get another opportunity. The market does provide opportunity to get into this, get into the market. Not here, up 6-7% straight up in a row. Now, I do see a market pullback. How deep, we don't know until the market does retrace back a little bit, but I do see a market pullback here in the coming days and weeks. Now, what am I doing? Well, if I'm looking for candidates, I want to stick with the trend, and I want to buy strong stocks on pullbacks with some sort of a catalyst. Now, can I short? Of course you can, but short relative weakness to what the market is doing. I would not be looking to say, hey, John Deere, DE is at these levels because we're at the extension, I'm going to short it. No, that's not the reason to short it. Short it because the market, in fact, rolled over, and we're looking for retracement. Even then, I wouldn't short a strong stock because you're going to get more movement on a weak stock that really hasn't gone anywhere on this rally. So get your watch list together. Get your short watch list together. Get your long watch list together. Every week you should be doing it because when the market does turn, the weaker stocks will sell off much faster than the stocks that have been holding up and doing well in this quick little rally that we've had. Okay? So anyway, that's just my little synopsis here on what I think is going to happen and what I would like to do and what I'm doing now. So I have a list of short candidates and a list of long candidates within my universe of stocks that I have, about over 1,000 that I look at on a consistent basis. So that's what you should be doing, getting ready for this week. And again, remember, when a market turns over, it's very fast and very fierce. So if you're not prepared for that, you're going to miss the opportunity. I'm not saying that the market's going to roll over this week, tomorrow, Tuesday or Wednesday, but we do have FOMC coming out again. I believe they have an FOMC meeting on what they're going to do with interest rates. Obviously, they're going to do nothing with it, but if they have any little sign, a different type of wording, because now, if you remember, Ben Bernanke back in May, if I recall, right up in here, he was talking about a tapering. And what he did, he just talked down the markets. That's all he did. He said something about a possible taper. Boom, the market sold off, as you can see. They don't have to do anything. All they have to do is change the language, and the market will follow. So remember that. Ben Bernanke has a lot of tools as far as keeping the market at least in check for a little bit until his term is over in January. Now, another thing that we had, Miss Janet Yellen, they want to actually hold her nomination. Well, they need, I believe it's 34 senators or 40 senators to vote. So that's gonna take a lot. Is that going to happen? Probably not. But just keep in mind, remember, the markets are very, very high, and if something does come with some sort of the slightest catalyst, this market you could see down 50, 60 handles. Remember, we're up well over 100 handles in 12 days. If you don't think we can get back down here in 5, think again. The market is crazy. And with the high-frequency trading and the algorithms, anything can happen. Just please remember that. All right, let's get into the indicators. And here's the New York Stock Exchange, new highs, new lows. Well, we're making new highs, but we don't see us making new highs here. So another red flag. And remember, guys, this is indicators. Price is what pays us, but you have to realize you cannot rule this out, and you have to understand what's happening here. So our new highs, we're not making any new highs here. Stocks above the 50-day moving average. We're steady, but we're not making additional new highs. We are grossly overbought in this indicator. These are the areas where the market likes to pull down. Okay? That's another one. New York Stock Exchange, new high. Another one, this indicator is not making new highs and not holding above this trend line. Yes, we did get a little bit of a tick, but it's not holding where we are making new highs here. Something is lagging, and it's momentum. Momentum is lagging. New lows. We're starting picking up on the new lows. We should be down in this area, down 6.25%. But now we're starting to pick up again. It's just something to keep an eye on. NASI weekly, still on a sell signal. Why is this on a sell signal? Oh, God only knows, but I can tell you now, trying to curl back up again, but this could easily kiss it and roll back down again. So this, to me, is not on a buy signal. This is a very reliable indicator that I like to use. Okay, New York Stock Exchange Summation Index. This is still on a sell signal. Okay, and now remember, these indicators, these two indicators I just showed you, it's like turning a truck. It takes a long time before it to move, but we can get back up to these areas here, and then this market kiss the 5-3 stochastic and start to roll again. So this here is still on a sell signal. Okay, let's take a look at the VIX. VIX here right now, still at the lows, but we're at the lows here. So anytime it could gain a little momentum and start to break up, and that's what I'm going to be watching for. Watching for the intraday tick to see what happens. See, if the tick can stay above 0 or below 0, then you have an idea that there's real buying or selling. But on Friday and Thursday and Friday, we really had the tick going nowhere. We had little spikes above just around 4 to 600 and below 4 to 600. That's nothing. That's just chop. That's all it is. So that didn't tell me much of anything, any real buying. And when you have at the end of the day selling, buying coming in on the S&P, ticking higher on nothing, on no volume, and I listened to it. We have the squawk on the mini pit. There's absolutely nothing going on, no real buying that I saw at 7:15 to tick this market higher. So again, you have to. The word of caution needs to be done. The dollar has been getting decimated on what Ben Bernanke's been doing with QE, and now we're sitting here at major support. Can it break lower? Sure. But if you're at major support here, logically we're due for a bounce. If they do bounce, look out for the possible weakness in commodities and in, of course, equities. Okay, so here is just something that I want you to keep an eye on. These are some indicators that are very reliable, and when they all start lining up together in a row, that's a good signal to say I gotta take a step back here. No sense loading the boat on the long side. There'll be plenty of opportunity to buy plenty of time between now and the end of the year. Now, another thing that I wanted to mention is that now, in the last several years, if you look back, and I want you to go back in history and just look back from 2012, from the beginning to the end, we always had a market that actually pulled down, right? Pulled off, had a little bit of a pullback, and then we rolled into that Santa Claus rally. Now, there were a couple of years that September, October were fairly decent, meaning that we didn't get the pullback, but we were never at all-time highs. So you have to think to yourself, can this be that we are having a Santa Claus rally early? That we've actually rallied now into the end of the year, right? We are in November now. Next week is November. And then don't get the Santa Claus rally. We get the sell-off where the money managers are now just booking gains, just to book gains because they've already underperformed. That's something that's just a theory, but it's something that shouldn't go unnoticed, all right? So just keep that in mind as well. Okay, it's very interesting. Now, if we do get a major sell-off, which, again, no one knows, down 8, 10, 12% between now and 2-3 weeks, then you can reevaluate saying, hey, I think we might get that Santa Claus rally. But remember, guys, it doesn't have to happen. So just please keep that in mind. Another thing that I'm looking at is I'm looking at tech. Now, tech was a big mover, right, in the last few weeks. And I like tech. I like tech a lot. But the problem is now the semiconductors are starting to wane a little bit. Okay, as well as the networking sector, the IGN ETF. I'll show that to you in the chart segment. So, and then you have stocks like, let's just put in here, for instance, Google, making all-time highs and now selling off. Okay, Amazon made a big high on earnings, big, beautiful. I mean, but look at where we are. Look at where we've been. I mean, this is just out of control. Okay, let's look at Baidu. Now pulling back in again. Okay, Apple. Well, I don't know what happened with that. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Take a look at Apple on a daily chart. Now, it had its day. What I'm saying is that Thursday and Friday, I'm seeing a lot more weakness in the high flyer names. Tesla, last one. Just to get my point out. Look at Tesla. Now, not all of them are like this, but this is just from May. $59 at 194. What I'm saying is the market is way ahead of itself. And when we have some of the high flyers that have been doing fantastic all spring, summer, and now into the fall, starting to take money out. People are starting to take money out. Traders are taking money out of the high flyers. Now, it's okay if they bring them into another sector, if we just have a sector rotation. I don't see that yet. That's the problem. And the banks have actually picked up a little steam and now are a little weak. And let me just get into that chart segment. All right. Spiders Monthly. We're up at the upper end of this channel with this wedge I have here. Okay, now we have another week left of the month, so looks like to me that we're going to close higher than the previous month. Obviously, the close is here. This was the high, so we're going to take out last month's high. We still got 5 trading days, so I don't think it could happen. But you could see we're very extended here, and we're grossly overextended here. Stochastics, MACD. When you have that on a monthly chart, it's just crazy. Bearish rise and wedge. We are now closed above it. We're still in its uptrend channel. So again, but look at the volume, weaker than expected. Every week we're losing volume and we're losing momentum. So not a good sign. So I'm saying is just not saying you can't buy. Of course you can buy, but be very careful. Be cognizant of what possibly can happen. We need a market pullback, and the market pullback is going to happen one way or the other, whether you or I like it or not, but this is something that you really can't go unnoticed. Spiders Daily, back up here, and up into this confluence area resistance. We made a double top here, and where we've gone, really nowhere. In volume is just really doing nothing. And look at 92.5, at one point was 98. MACD's at its highs. So again, another stock that I want you to be aware of and just take notice. The Dow Jones back at these levels again, okay? So, again, needs a breather. That doesn't mean that we cannot go and buy stocks again, like I keep mentioning. Russell 2000, one of our leaders now, kind of holding back, down 50 cents, no big deal. But as you can see here, and again, if we can hold, we're holding this area, and the market can unwind its overbought reading, then it's just bullish. But again, I'd like to see a little bit of a correction, a lower, higher, lower highs and lower lows with low volume on the pullback coming into support. That's when you look to buy. But we want to see when this market does pull back, how does it pull back? Does it pull back on heavy volume, breaking key pivotal lows? Then it's another story. We might be looking for a deeper downside correction. We don't know that yet until that does happen. But this is something straight up, 2 standard deviations away from the mean. Transportation, our leader, definitely doing its job, but now it's a little bit stretched, and it is time for some type of a pullback here. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you're uncomfortable, just step aside. Cash is a position, But I like looking for opportunity every day. If I don't find it, I'm not going to force the issue. Goldman, I did mention, guys. I love Goldman here. I know a bunch of people did take it, but here Goldman above 160 with a big move up. Now, does it continue? We shall see. Now, we have plenty of room to run to the upside. The problem here is now the banks. Now, the XLF did take out the 2 days, but, J.P. Morgan's lawsuit maybe put a little damper on banks being bought. But we'll see. We need the banks to continue to participate. One thing is lagging are the banks and, of course, some of the technology sector. The networking, IGN sector. I have a big head and shoulders pattern here. Now, head and shoulders pattern has not been working lately, but we do have a pattern, hasn't broke out of the neckline yet, so when that does break on a closing basis, that actually triggers the bearish setup. But again, until then, but you can see we're weaker here. So semiconductors, networking sector, weak. Okay, large cap technology, a lot of the big cap high beta names, they're succumbing to some profit taking. Now that could put a damper on what the on the Qs, as you can see here. That was Apple. Look at the Qs. Great run, big move up, exactly what you want to see if you're a bull. But we're coming up to these extensions and these upper end of this trend line resistance. So you have to be cautious here, okay? That's the weekly chart. And you take a look at the daily chart, straight up in an arrow. And we're just making now, we're starting to make these bottom tails, making some of these hammers, inverted hammers, and hangmen. You have to watch here. To me, guys, I think this market needs a pullback. I think it's due for a pullback, and I think we're going to get the pullback. When? No one knows, but I see some sort of volatility picking up in this week and next week. We'll see. This week is going to be a big week with FOMC. Again, any slight little comment could fuel a market sell-off. And again, it's healthy. Whether you're a bull or a bear, it's healthy for both sides. Okay? Keep an eye on it. Let's see what happens here. Keep an eye on some of these indicators I pointed out. Watch for big cat tech. Even if you're not trading it, it's good to keep an eye on what's happening and where the money's rotating. Is the money coming out of the market, or is the money coming out of tech and going into something else? So that's something that we will continue to monitor in the markets. Have a great day tomorrow trading. Be safe out there. Use your stops. Remember, if when in doubt, cash is a position. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Bye-bye.